Paul Stanley's Top 11 Singers of All Time list. Stick around till the end for something a bit funny about this list. Stanley had a great voice. Looking back on a lot of his songs, you definitely notice he has a good range too. Not one of their biggest or most known or listened to albums, Animalize I think probably has to be one of his best as far as his vocals go. Songs like Heaven's on Fire shows a bit of his range and how powerful his voice was back then, and they also had Mark St. John with them then as well. And that's a whole other story. If you've been with the channel for a while now, you also already know I'm going to disagree with him just a little. Of course I don't have the clout he has. I wouldn't put any singer over Freddie Mercury, but that's just me I suppose. I do however agree with him on some of the singers that he has on the list, but have to ask, do you all agree with Brian Johnson being on the top 11 singers of all time list? Personally, I could think of quite a few that would come to mind before Johnson. If I sat down to make a top 50 lead singers of all time, I don't even think he would be on that one. Yes, he is an original and unique singer, but not in my mind great by any stretch of the imagination. I apologize up front for the critique, and I know he's famous, but it just doesn't seem to me that he's definitely not in the top 11 singers ever. Just personal preference I guess I have to keep in mind with his list. Honestly, when I think of a singer, I rarely bring him to mind. Heck, think of the vocals on songs like Still of the Night by Whitesnake and I'll Remember You by Skid Row. Although I am glad to see the lead singers from Journey, Boston and Heart on the list. You know, one of the vocalists that I think is highly underrated and hardly even mentioned is Graham Bonnet. That guy has an amazing voice, but I don't think I've ever seen his name on anyone's list. A good song to reference his voice would be something like Night of the Shooting Star. Not really one of his heavy songs, but gives you a good idea of his vocal abilities. So here's his list. Paul Stanley's top 11 lead singers of all time. 1. Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin. 2. Steve Marriott, Small Faces, Humble Pie. 3. Freddie Mercury, Queen. 4. David Ruffin, The Temptations. 5. Rod Stewart. 6. Paul Rogers, Bad Company, Free. 7. Janis Joplin. 8. Steve Perry, Journey. 9. Brad Delp, Boston. 10. Brian Johnson, AC/DC. 10. Lou Gramm, Foreigner. 11. Ann Wilson, Heart. Now the funny thing is his list actually has 12 singers on it. He wrote down 10 twice. Not a stickler for details I suppose.